Welcome to Bard's Breathe Easy service program. My name is Rick Downey, and today we're going to take a look at the new PGD display kit. This is a single unit controller for the PLC product line. The PGD display kit allows any of our PLC family of units to run as a single unit in standalone mode. There are two kits available. The 8620-306 includes components for wired remote display, allowing unit data display and unit setup from the PGD. Now this kit's available for the MEGA-TEC, FUSION-TEC, and the MULTI-TEC. Kit number 8620-307 includes everything in the 306 kit, plus a remote temperature sensor. This kit allows remote temperature sensing by connecting this remote sensor to the same terminals on the unit as the return air sensor. The 8620-306, there's a PGD display, an enclosure, 25-foot of cable, and there's a phone jack on each end of that cable with an instruction sheet. All you need to do is plug that cable into the PGD display and the board in the unit, and you're all set. The 8620-307 includes Kit 306 plus a remote temp only sensor. The existing return air sensor is disconnected and the new remote sensor is connected to the unit at the same points. You are going to need some 18.2 to 22.2 field supplied copper wire, and that's limited to 35 feet. There are a couple of components from the kit sold separately, the remote temp sensor and the PGD cable. This is a connection overview. Now the provided communication wire for the PGD, which is 25 foot in length, and it has two J10 connectors, one at both ends, as shown with the solid blue line. Kit 8620-306 includes the wire and the PGD display. Kit 8620-307 includes both of those items plus the remote temp sensor. For that remote temp sensor, you'll need some 18.2 for your wire connection to the remote sensor, and that's shown with the blue and white dashed wire. Even though the sensor terminals are marked with positive and negative, this is a typical 10-case sensor, and they're not polarity sensitive. When connecting the remote temp sensor to the MEGA-TEC, disconnect the black wire from terminal B1 on the PLC board and connect one sensor wire here. Connect the other sensor wire to terminal 21 on the ground bar as shown on the top right. To hook up the PGD, simply plug the 25-foot furnished cable into the back of the PGD display and plug it into the board in the unit. When connecting to the MULTI-TEC, disconnect the black wire from terminal B3 on the PLC board and connect one sensor wire here. Connect the other sensor wire to terminal 6 on the analog ground bar as shown in the exploded view on the top right. When connecting the remote temp sensor to the FUSION-TEC, disconnect the black wire from terminal B3 on the PLC board and connect one sensor wire here. Connect the other sensor wire to terminal 17 on the analog ground bar as shown at the right. And note, leave the wire removed from B3 and seal the end. You can cover it with tape or put a wire nut on it, and you'll have a backup sensor, the return air sensor, and it will be in place should you ever need it. This is the PGD display itself, and this is what you're going to see. After 5 minutes of no use, it's going to go to the default unit status screen and tell you what's happening. First, we have an alarm key. If this is flashing, you have a present alarm. If you push that, it will tell you what the alarm is. Next, we have a menu key. We can push this button to access the main menu, enter our password, and change settings in the unit itself. Here we have an escape key. Now this backs us up one level from wherever we're at in the system, so this will take us backward all the way to the main menu if we choose. This is a scroll up key for changing screens and changing values. The enter key moves the cursor. The down key is for scrolling down and changing values. This is what we'll see on the status screen. where it says RAT, that's my return air temperature or my remote air temperature. It depends on what kit that I'm using. Then we've got our outdoor air temperature, our outdoor air humidity to the right. Below that, we've got our outdoor dew point. Next comes the blower and damper status. Currently the blower's off and the damper is closed. And then we have our unit status. At the top it says time and date, and you can see how the time and date is spread across the top of the status screen continuously. With the 8620-306 PGD kit, you're allowing remote viewing of the status and remote programming of the standalone options inside the unit controller. Once the unit is installed and the PGD kit is connected, according to the supplied instructions, the AC breakers turned on, the unit's ready to run in standard heating and cooling mode. Heating is an option. Kit 8620-307 also includes the remote temperature sensor that can be located away from the unit in the conditioned space. The return air sensor is disconnected and the remote sensor is connected to the same terminals, allowing the space temperature monitoring. Currently, the fan will still run continuously. Whenever we're in standalone mode, the fan runs continuously. A future software update will be required to disable continuous fan operation. High sensible, balanced climate, dehumidification, and remote communications are not available in standalone mode and would require the LC6000 controller. Note that the features and sequence of operation available with the PGD control kit include all functions and features available in standalone mode. Features and functions vary slightly by model, but include emergency cooling, and we have to have an economizer for that, free cooling, optimized cooling, alarm logging, self-test, and unit disable. And it's important to follow all guidelines, codes, and requirements of smoke and fire suppression systems, including the need to break power to the unit and close the economizer dampers within a certain time period. This slide is showing our cooling sequence in standalone mode and connected to the PGD display. The yellow arrow indicates that our default set point is 77 degrees. So if the sensor is higher than 77.5 and the outdoor conditions are acceptable for economizing, in this slide economizing is available, the wall mount unit will enable the economizer. If the temperature continues to rise and is higher than 78, then we'll enable mechanical cooling stage 1. If the unit has 2 stages and the temperature sensor is higher than 78.5, the unit will enable mechanical cooling stage 2. And if 3 stages are present, at 79, stage 3 is energized. And you can see that this backs down. At 78, we would drop out of stage 3. At 77.5, we would drop out of stage 2. At 77, we would drop out of stage 1 mechanical cooling. And at 76.5, we would drop out of economizer mode. Note that the economizer and mechanical cooling can run together. This is called enhanced or optimized cooling. Now let's take a look at the charts with the economizer not available. And keep in mind that the MEGA-TEC will use all 3 rungs on this chart. The FUSION-TEC 2, because it's a 2-stage, and the MULTI-TEC, only the bottom line will apply to the MULTI-TEC because that's a single-stage compressor. So if the temperature is higher than 77.5, the unit will enable mechanical cooling stage 1. If the sensor is higher than 78, stage 2, and at 78.5, stage 3 is energized. This backs out the same way as it rises up. It has to go across that light blue line, which is our deadband. So coming out of stage 3 at 77.5, 77, stage 2 drops out, and 76.5, stage 1. Heating works very similar to cooling, but the stair step is just in the opposite direction. So my default set point is 60 degrees. As the temperature falls and I reach 59.5, my first stage electric heat is on. If I get down to 59, my second stage would come on. As the temperature is warming up, when I get to 60 degrees, stage 2 drops out, and when I get to 60.5, stage 1 drops out. For more information about the PGD single unit display kit, please review the specification sheet S3599, and thank you for choosing BARD.